Oh, hello, everybody. This is going to be a fun show. Who knows what's going to happen? This is
Hello, everyone.
Jeff Dwoskin coming at you with my new camera. What? Welcome to Crossing the Streams, where we answer the universal question, what should you be binge watching next? You just watched something, and now you got to watch something else or not watch something else. And we're here. We got your back. 120 hours on our YouTube channel.
Magnificent.
This is episode 121. We're here. We got a jam-packed episode. Let's kick it off, though, with our theme song. Bob, the author.
All right. Here's the story of some lonely fellows and one hot chick at a sleepover who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
All right, Marzi.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff, Ron, Sal, and Bob, and then there's Marcy at a girl sleepover. They call it Crossing Streams.
Sal.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and scout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we crossed
the streams.
All together now.
We crossed the streams.
We
crossed the streams.
That's a word.
That's the way we do it here. We cross the streams. Yeah, we never get that, do we?
Speaking of the Brady Bunch,
Yeah.
Brady
How cool.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You didn't put the live light on, did you? She freezes at that.
I know. Yeah. So when I was doing my research, I realized, I don't know if you guys have watched the Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
Yeah, God, it was so awful.
It's horrible. It's the worst thing ever. But Susan Olsen with two other people wrote a book, like the definitive book on the history of the Brady Bunch Variety Hour. So I bought it before I talked to her, read the whole thing. It was joyous. Like, it was honestly one of the best books like that I've ever bought.
Really?
It was all
cool,
hardcore, really great information. I mean, if you're into that topic, but it was awesome. All right, let's we got Ron. Oh,
hey, what's up, Ronnie?
What's up, man?
Something's gonna happen tonight
in Atlanta. Ron's getting
Mr. Chacon.
All right,
and Lee, here she is.
Hey, what's up, Lee?
Where's Jerry? Jerry's here. Jerry's here.
I don't know.
Jerry.
Jerry he was on the last slide.
I just want to say my mother is rushing home from the Friends experience right now to jump on.
Did she
love
it?
She called and said, "Send me the link. I can never find it."
How come you didn't go to the Friends experience with your mom?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I wanted to go with my girlfriend because my mom doesn't smoke weed. I don't know.
Marcy, tell Sal what's going on at your girlfriend's tonight. We had a little talk about this pre-show. Sal wasn't here.
Yeah, you came in a little late. So I've got a sleepover going on. My girlfriend, she's actually pricing a bunch of shit for a garage sale she's having. And you know who else I'm hanging out with tonight is John Glazer's sister. John
Glazer, former guest on
Glazer. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm friends with his sister Maggie. So we just had dinner. I'm like, can I throw your name out tonight? And she was wasted. She's like, sure.
So how many girls are at the sleepover?
Just right now, just two of us right now.
Just two of you. Okay, is it gonna get bigger?
No.
No?
No.
That's all right.
It's a work night. What is it tonight? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone's at home watching us.
You guys lay on the bed and sing songs like the movie Grease or something?
That's totally that's what we do. Just like Grease. I can't wait to put on that whole get up and tape my hair. Me and Sandra D.
Are you doing mani-pedis?
No, I pay for a mani-pedi, Bob. Come on.
I know, but it's a girl's thing. I figured you did. Yeah.
No. We just balance our checkbook.
All right. We just balance our checkbook. Oh, guys, guess what I started watching? It's amazing. The Bear. Have you guys watched The Bear?
I just went back to it.
No, wait.
Yeah, The Bear.
It's on Hulu. It's about the restaurant.
It's Lip from Shameless.
No, Never watched it.
Oh my God, you got to watch it. That's next on your list.
Everyone is saying that it's amazing, and I had
It's-
to go back to it.
Is he like a chef?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a chef. He's a chef.
Yes, chef. That is
Yes,
what the whole.
chef.
Yes, chef.
Her
Yeah.
chef.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we call it our everyone. Rob and I
The
call
bear.
each
Yeah.
other chef.
So I went back to it.
And happy.
I listen. I already liked it. It was my partner that wasn't into it, so it didn't work. My husband wasn't into it, but now I'm gonna just watch it by myself.
It's
You know,
great.
just one of those things.
But the crazy thing is, I saw that it got like nominated for best comedy. I'm like, this is not a comedy.
It is not a comedy.
It's like the.
It must have another. What is the category? Comedy and.
Maybe I thought it just said comedy. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you
Wow.
joking? Anyway, but you guys got to watch it. It's on Hulu, The Bear. And then I just finished Never Have I Ever.
My favorite.
Did you?
You
finish
got me
it?
into that show. It's one of the best shows. For me, I loved it. My mom's driving. I know she's a huge fan of it, and it's just
Never saw it.
Did you finish the last season?
I finished. I've watched every episode. I thought it ended awesome.
Yeah, it's like one of the. It's not only a great show, it ended so well. It really nailed it. One of those. It was a great 4 seasons. That's on Netflix. You guys.
When you announced it on Facebook or wherever to watch it, I read it, and I was literally in a real hardcore quarantine of COVID. I was one of the earlier COVID dumbasses drinking in a bar, and got in October of 2020. It was kind of a big deal. You didn't want anyone to know. You were being shamed, and I was at home, and I binge watched that while I was sick in my room for 14 days.
Wow.
Back in the beginning, and I freaking it was awesome. It was the Queen's Gambit. It was Never Have I Ever.
Yes.
And I have to say, my kids and my husband were on the other side of the door for 14 days. I was living like a queen.
Wow.
Like a Queen's Gambit.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And then
That's when I watched that show, and I have been a huge fan ever since. And they
I'm
ended
glad I
it
got
brilliantly.
you through COVID. I'm glad I got
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it.
Are you guys going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer this weekend?
Yeah. What are they calling it? Barbieheimer or something?
Yeah,
Like
it's like the most brilliant. Like, I don't know. I think the best thing that ever happened to Oppenheimer is Barbie coming out the same day as it, because otherwise it probably just would have been, oh, here's an interesting movie. But Barbie is getting really good reviews. I really can't wait to see.
I will see that in the theater.
There's a lot of people saying that they're going to see the movies back to back. The light and frivolous stuff, and then the Oppenheimer. Now people are saying no, see Oppenheimer and then Barbie, but I would like to see something of substance after a cotton candy movie. So
I hear it's Barbie.
Yeah.
A great movie. At the end, she makes the bomb. She is. Ryan Gosling is the bomb. Anywho, all right. Quack. Okay, let's see what we got. We got a fab show for you today. What do we had last week? We had a tight show. We had the Righteous Gemstones, Sailing SV Delos. I don't remember that. And Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This week we got Wham, the documentary, Gunther's Millions, The Mother, and we're gonna recap flashback Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Let's do Wham. Let's talk about Wham.
Wow, I'm lead off again.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, you guys. You guys are all old like I am, so everybody remembers this band. So this was a documentary about the pop band Wham. They were huge from 1982 to 1986. They only kind of had a 4-year run. It's the pop duo of Andrew Ridgeley and the more famous George Michael, who is Greek. I didn't know. You find when you watch these documentaries, you kind of know about these bands or whoever you're doing the documentary about, but then you find out so many little things about them that you just didn't know about them. And he's got this long Greek name as his original name. Obviously, he shortened it up, George Michael, a hell of a lot easier. But this is a really, really good documentary. It was done by a guy named Chris Martin, and I guess he's really, really good at this kind of stuff. And he did really well with this one. And I read some reviews about this too after I watched it, and I think it got 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it got a lot of bad reviews because people said that they didn't dive into a lot of George Michael's kind of gay stuff that he went through when he was young. They really didn't touch. They just kind of mentioned it, but they didn't touch it. People were, commenting that they didn't get into that. They didn't get into their solo career after the Wham, the Wham boom kind of thing. They didn't get into George Michael's drug addiction, which I thought was great. I don't know why people kind of gave it a bad review because that stuff wasn't mentioned. It was very, very well done. And what this was really cool about it, Andrew Ridgeley's mother, these two met in like elementary school, Andrew Ridgeley and George Michael. They met very, very young age. And they actually started out as like comedians in their class. Like they wanted to do improv and they wanted to do sketch comedy. And that's kind of how they became friends. And then they felt like getting a band together would get them not more gigs, but just get more appearance. Like they kind of saw that, the local thing was music. So they decided to start a band. And this was really cool. I forgot to mention. So Andrew Ridgeley's mother starts a scrapbook of these two from day one. And that's kind of how Chris Martin does it. He takes these books. So when she would run out of room on one of the books, she would just put book one, and then she would start a second book, like when they became 10 years old, and then book two, and book three all the way up. And it was like 12 books. So it was really cool. So what Chris Martin, the director, did was he would open up book one. They would show some pictures of what Andrew Ridgeley's mother put together. And then they would talk about that book and maybe pull out the pictures and then go footage and stuff like that. So it was really, really well done as far as that goes. And basically these two guys were just trying to crack it in London and the United Kingdom. And wasn't really going that well. They were just trying to get gigs. They had, band name. They weren't called Wham right away. And anyway, they finally. Oh, and then when George Michael was like 16 years old, he penned "Careless Whisper." Can you believe that? He wrote "Careless Whisper," and it was like 16, 17 years old. And they were kind of bouncing around town, kind of playing some bars and stuff. They were starting to get a little, not heat, but like they were starting to get some gigs and playing, covers and stuff like that. And George Michael had "Careless Whisper" written down. He met a record producer, or Andrew Ridgeley introduced him to a record producer, and this guy recorded it for him. And you can hear the recording on the documentary, and you can kind of obviously you can tell it's the song "Careless Whisper," but it was not done the way we know "Careless Whisper." So it was kind of not done very well, obviously, but you could tell the song was really, really good. And it was just something they brought up in the documentary because it was something that was done early on. I thought that was really cool. So they kind of just shelved it and they went about their business. And then they went on a show that would be kind of like our MTV. And it was called Top of the Pops. Mm-hmm. And they went on Top of the Pops and they sang their first song that they ever did was called the Wham Rap, and then Club Tropicana, and they're kind of like cheesy kind of dance songs, but they had like political meanings to them and stuff that they were going through in their early years. So they didn't do that great. They didn't make any charts in the United States or nothing like that. I think this song Club Tropicana made it to like 42 in the UK, and that song they played on Top of the Pops. So that was kind of like their big break, and they kind of started to get notoriety in the United Kingdom. And by the way, the name Wham, they thought of it as basically they wanted to kind of be different from everybody else in town. It was something to do with the essence of them two being so different, and they wanted to like Wham, like look, we're different, Wham, right? And then it was kind of funny. The graphic designer added the exclamation point, which ended up being there forever, which is kind of funny. So that's how they got their name. They kind of go over that. Anyway, then they start kind of getting some play, and then their first really big single was sorry about this, guys. Their first really big single. Well, Fantastic was their first album. It did very, very well in the UK. That had the that had those two songs that I was just talking about. Then in 1983, they came out with Make It Big. And that was their really, really big album. It went to #1 in the UK, and it kind of creeped into the United States. And that was a really, really big hit. That had Careless Whisper on it, that had Freedom on there, that had all these really great songs. And that kind of made them. And that was the music that George Michael wrote. They both started writing songs early on, but then what happened was they just kept using George Michael's songs, and Andrew Ridgeley's songs just really never made it. And he kind of knew. And it's very interesting how Andrew was kind of second fiddle throughout this whole thing to George Michael. He was just so much more talented than him, and obviously a better songwriter. So he kind of took a back seat, and that's why George Michael always became the front runner. As a matter of fact, when they released Careless Whisper, he wasn't even, Andrew Ridgeley wasn't even in the video, wasn't in nothing.
Wasn't? Wow, I didn't know that.
It was just him, and that's
well, that's
when they were still,
yes.
Yeah, that's when they were still a duo. But anyway, it's kind of funny too. One of their really big songs is "Wake Me Up Before You Go." If you guys remember that one, and how they
never heard it.
How they came up with that song, I thought was cool. Really, kind of just funny how you get the name. It's obviously they wrote the rest of the song, but how that statement came, that phrase was they were living together, and Andrew was living upstairs and George was downstairs or something like that. And Andrew was leaving, or no, Andrew got home late, and he wrote on the fridge, "Wake me up before you," he was going to say, "Wake me up before you go tomorrow morning," kind of thing. But he said, "Wake me up before you go," just as a little joke, "Wake me up before you go." And George Michael took a picture of that. And that's kind of how we just got the idea to kind of just come up with this song and write the rest of it. It was almost like he wrote the title before the song. So I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, just a little bit about the success of this band. They were one of the first bands they were actually the first band to go to China and play in China in 1984. That was a huge deal back then for them to go over there, just because of the political.
And they were just elementary school friends.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
now they're a little older and stuff like that at this point. But yeah, they're just two elementary school friends that made it this big.
Are they?
30 million certified records between 1982 and 1986, which is insane.
30 million. Wow.
Yeah,
I was a huge fan. I probably know every word on that album that you said with Freedom and the rap. I know the whole Wham rap, by the way.
Oh, do you really?
Wham
I think so.
I totally,
Wham,
I
bam,
totally
I
love their
am
music.
a man.
So
I totally love their music. I loved it. And
I loved him too. And I love George Michael. And I did. And I never even knew the other guy's name until you said it. So there you go.
I know. He was on
Oh, wow.
he was on one of these talk shows or something the other day. He's completely bald. I mean, he doesn't look anything like
Dancing with the Stars, maybe.
What's that?
Nothing.
It's Dancing with the Stars. Sal, I knew you were gonna be talking about Wham. And so on my Amazon thing, it said The Real George Michael. So somebody must have known this documentary was coming and jumped on a George Michael version, which I refused to watch. And then I only had a few minutes, but I watched like the first 15 minutes of the documentary. It's great.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's really good. It's really good.
It really is good. It doesn't get into, like I said, it doesn't get into George Michael's solo career or nothing like that.
That's why it's called Wham.
Yeah, it just ends right at the success of Wham. 1986, they broke up. Andrew Ridgeley was the one that said, I'm leaving. I think you should go solo and do your own thing. Because I don't think George Michael would have ever broke up. I mean, he was in control. What's he saying?
Ron's giving you shit.
Thanks, Ron. Where the hell are you? At Applebee's?
He's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Go
Audrey loved the Friends experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, basically how it ends.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, of course not. Who has?
Anyway, it's very good. I highly recommend it. One of the things, again, I didn't learn this on the documentary, but just kind of researching, I didn't know George Michael sang backup on Nikita, which is an Elton John song. He also sang Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me at Live Aid with Elton John. That was later on. That's not in the documentary. It's just something I heard. just reviewing this. But anyway,
That's a great version of that song, by the way.
He has
Yeah.
one of the most
Yeah.
incredible voices, and when he passed
Yeah.
away, it was devastating to me.
Yeah, 53 years old in 2016, heart failure. He had a really bad, I guess he had a bad drug problem that just wasn't out in the open unless I didn't see it, at least not back in the day. But I just want to say I reviewed this because Wham was
How
a
he
really
kept it
big,
hidden from you, Sal.
I don't know,
No.
Jeff. But Wham was a really big part of my high school years, and I liked them. And
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 85. And I want to say this.
Okay.
I want to say one thing. I knew George Michael was gay back then. Okay. I didn't
Sal
care.
sussed it out.
I didn't care because anybody that wears tight white shorts, runs around singing "Wake Me Up Before You Go" though is gay. Okay. But I loved them. So
Wait, I did that when you had the sleepover here last weekend. I'm not gay.
but I
Come
loved
on.
them. So
You know,
George Michael, if your mom or anybody,
It's like Heather's. I love my
you.
decade son.
I did not see the documentary, but I'm going to watch it. But what I loved about when they were interviewing Andrew Ridgeley about it, I thought the guy was going to be bitter or not, if not bitter, just sort of melancholy that, he didn't get the huge shot of fame after he was done, in 1986. What is that? 37 years
Well,
ago.
he tried to do
Brian
a solo
Dunkelman
album,
of-
Right, but
he tried to do a solo album and it bombed. He tried to be
Yeah.
a car driver and that didn't work out. I mean, so he tried a lot of stuff. Obviously, he had a lot of money to try that stuff, but he did have a solo career. He didn't sell any albums. But Andrew Ridgeley did try to.
The interviewer asked him. They said, "Do you feel any bitterness over the fact that George went on to this huge career and you kind of languished and left behind?" He said, "Absolutely not." He goes, "George is my best friend. I feel nothing but happiness for him." And I thought, wow, man, that's rare.
Yeah,
Well, I think, Bob, because they literally became buddies at 12. Like, if you watch one part of the documentary I did see, George Michael shows up at this school, and Andrew just befriends him immediately, and they became best friends immediately.
That's correct.
So
that's correct.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very good. I would highly recommend.
review.
About an hour and 30 minutes long.
how many
Lot of
many
footage.
tomato sauce jars?
I give it 4. I'll give it 4 just because it didn't dive into the after 86, but I really enjoyed it. A lot of concert footage, a lot of personal backstage footage, footage of them growing up and just pictures and stuff like
It's
that.
like
Also movies.
VH1 Behind the Music. We missed that, right?
Yeah.
That was the greatest show.
That was the
ever.
best show.
Best
Yep.
show.
Yeah.
Past show.
I loved it.
All right, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Oh shit.
Jennifer Lopez, the mother.
The mother.
Take it away, Marcy.
Look at
I
Marcy.
haven't
She
seen it yet. No, I'm just
said a
kidding.
lot of Chardonnay.
Let me tell you about Jennifer Lopez's movie, The Mother. It's pretty bad. Okay. Don't see it. And no, I'm just kidding. So I did watch this a while back for another show, and we ended up not going on the air, but I don't remember a lot of it. I remember not enjoying it. Jennifer Lopez plays like an assassin who is pregnant and caught and being forced to be an informant, and her life is in danger. And her baby is in so much danger being her baby. They've got to place the baby with a family, which they do, thank God. And then the baby grows up to be this cool teenager. And Jennifer Lopez then finds herself needing to save her teenage daughter from the man that she testified against or something. Honestly, I might have just made that up. I don't remember.
Sounds like a plausible plot
There was
point.
a bad guy who was the father and was going to harm the child as a teenager. And I watched it, and I remember just saying to myself, like, turn it off. Just turn it off. You don't have to finish it. And then I didn't, and I kept going. And so here's the thing. Jennifer Lopez is talented with music and dance, and the movie Enough. Jennifer Lopez and Enough, I could watch it. If it were on right now, I would walk away from this podcast and just go watch it in the other room.
What's that
So
about?
good. You've never seen Enough, being like a boxing fan? in a
Oh
abused,
yeah,
almost
yeah.
just
Now I
learns how to
remember.
fight.
Yeah, I
He
got.
just kicks her.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, she
yeah,
has to fight for her life.
yeah.
That is one of the greatest
What was the movie
movies
she
for
was
a
in with
woman.
George Clooney? The movie with George Clooney. That was good. That she did with
Out of
Set in
sight.
Detroit and
Out
Elmore
of-
Leonard.
Wasn't it Out of Sight or something?
Yeah.
Out of sight.
That was
That was
not a good movie.
That was good. I
Yeah, it
liked
was a
that
great
movie.
movie.
Now,
Yeah.
put us in a separate room. I would like to talk to him about that. So they filmed that here in Detroit at the Bloomfield Hills Mansion, and
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I thought she was
maybe I
good
need
in
to.
that.
You know what? No disrespect. I mean, I was a huge Wham fan. So we think I was not a fan of that movie, but I did
Okay.
love, and I hated Hustler. Like, here's the thing: Jennifer Lopez has been churning movies out like crazy,
Yeah.
and Ben Affleck, like, he does. His movies are pretty darn good, but his dancing and singing is probably not as good as hers. I mean, I think that they just need to like separate.
No, I think Ben Affleck's a good dancer. No, I'm just kidding.
So I don't know. I did not like this
He was
movie.
an
I don't remember.
alternate on Dancing with the Stars. So
He was what? An alternate? Alternate?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
So in The Mother,
In The Mother. So she's
So-
she all
so,
like, "Don't be fooled by the rocks I got,"
yeah.
and then she goes, "I'm
It's
still
so
Jenny from the
predictable,
block."
made for Netflix bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
really, don't patronize me. I mean, this is
Okay.
$19.99 a month. I got a lot of availability because I got to share it with my mom. You're welcome, Mom. I know, and my brother. So $19.99. Jennifer Lopez is. I'll take another Adam Sandler movie over a Jennifer Lopez movie.
Ooh.
I actually
Yeah,
liked
I-
Hustlers. I thought
You
she was good in
did?
there. I thought she was the best part of it. She was believable
That's
to
fine
me.
if she was the
Yeah.
best part.
Yeah.
But
And I don't find her believable in anything, but in that movie, she looked believable to me.
she looks good. I mean, she looks great. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous
Yeah.
and she can
Yeah.
sing and she can dance. But the Mother, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to go watch Enough again. I would rather do that. I thought that this was just
All
ridiculous.
right, so your review of The Mother is go watch Enough.
How about that?
100%.
That's fine. That's
100%.
And by the way, don't confuse this with another awful movie, Mother, Darren Aronofsky with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh.
My Lord, an interminable.
All right,
It's
nothing
called
with
Mother.
And don't watch Psycho while you're at it either.
Yeah.
All right, let's group a couple of good ones together.
Don't
Let's talk
watch them.
about
Okay.
Gunther's Millions, also on Netflix.
Man, I got to tell you, I hate to be negative. I like to watch something that's fun because then I can have fun talking about it. This was awful. This was just awful, and I should have known. I didn't look at the ratings until I'd gotten through the first episode. There are 4 episodes of this at 45 minutes apiece. I refused to watch the other 3. This is a true story, but they gild the lily many times during this thing. Back in the early 90s, there's this, she's a countess, her Carlotta von Liebenstein. That's a real name. It's not a made up Mel Brooks name. Carlotta von Liebenstein, and she's got this weird heritage. You know, she's from Hungary, but she lives in Italy. She lives in this villa in Tuscany, and it's all pharmaceutical money. She is worth $400 million, and she bites it. Okay, in her will, she leaves it all to her beloved German Shepherd, Gunther, or Gunther, if you want to say the German, and it's like it starts there, and you think, okay, well, this could be amusing. Okay, Gunther's Millions. Brewster's Millions was a piece of shit back in the 80s, and that was 10 times better than, at least it had Richard Pryor. All this has is a bunch of Euro trash and a bunch of, it's terrible. You can tell that the people that are supposed to be, real in this, they're being fed lines off camera, and everything is so stilted and off and weird. And it's like they made this to mimic the House of Gucci, with the over-the-top accents and stuff. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute, I thought this was real people. Why do they look so fake to me? Because the whole thing is directed so poorly. So there's a lot of shady characters around trying to get at this 400 million. This is a real story. But what finally caused me to lose interest and get mad that I'd wasted 45 minutes on this, is that you find out it's not the same dog. This happened in the early 90s. This is like a third generation, fourth
actor?
generation, no, a sixth generation Gunther.
Oh.
So the money is still being passed down to these dogs because there was no, I don't know, there was no.
Is there a cat that's an executor?
Did the dog the dog had to breed?
Yes, he did. He had, and there's 27 employees keeping this dog, who's now sixth in line from the original Gunther. And so somebody figures out at some point that there is a guy that one of the administrators, oh, the money is going to him. Well, what a fucking surprise! I'm sorry. And it's just so bad. I wanted to like this. I mean, I love dogs. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Okay, Lucy Clarkson is still the head of PR. That's a real name of a real woman for this new Gunther, who's now sixth in, I guess. And it's just I didn't care enough to go further with this. I just thought the writing was so bad, the directing was so bad, it was insulting. How did you take a really fun, cool story like this and ruin it? So I can't tell you what happens after the first episode. You're not going to care. Don't do it. Then it was only then I read the ratings, and it's at 54%.
Well,
yes.
Wow.
That's your brother. Yes, yes, Audrey. Yes, he's single, but
Bob, I don't mean to push back on you, but I watched this also, and
You
it gets
did?
really good at episode 3.
Stop it.
I was going to say, there's no way you would have watched this past the first episode. I know you.
All right. Well, it is our job to save people as well. So
I recommend viewing something else. Can we talk about
maybe
that
enough.
now?
Sorry, Jay.
No, I'd sent you some art about another program that's on the net.
What do you got?
And it's freely available. Oh my God, there it is.
Nice.
Hey, that's the new open bar comedy special. $4.99. That's all it costs. Yes, $4.99 for the single special. It's like $29.95 a month for unlimited. And we got Sal. His is up there now.
Sal has one? How much is the how long is the special?
It's 30 minutes. They're all 30 minutes. And such classics as Touched by an Uncle, people. Come on. And
my favorite joke.
Yes, and Dating at 60. Oh, the hits never end. So I recommend that.
30 minutes. You should hook me up. I'll go do it.
If you want to be on there, you will be on there. I can tell you exactly how to do it. I know a guy.
I know how to do it. I'm just going to make a video of my sleepover tonight.
Yeah, your sleepover will get 100 times the views. So I don't know.
Bob, now that my brother just joined, Aaron, he dissed Brewster's Millions. Bob dissed Brewster's Millions earlier, and my brother knows it's one of my favorite movies in the world.
I'm sorry.
I still have the DVD, and I'm never letting it go.
Well, I think the story was cute, but why would you waste Richard Pryor in that movie? The juice that just came out of every pore of that guy, the funniness. I don't know. I
think they wasted him in a few movies, Bob.
Huh?
I think that he was in a few bad movies.
It was.
Superman 3.
Oh my
Pryor
Lord.
and Candy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to dish your movie, but anyway, you can see that.
I didn't mean. I'll be okay.
All right, let's end strong with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Be excellent to each other. So hang on one second. Anyway, I not to name drop, but I was talking to Alex Winter, who is Bill.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So
Nice.
Well, it was a press junket, so we really didn't get to talk about this movie. I wanted to watch it again. This movie is one of my favorite movies. This is from 1989. My friend Aaron Rubin and I, anytime we'd ever see each other, we'd always go, excellent. And that's how we always greeted each other. And this movie is fun even now. Sometimes you watch some of the older ones and it's like, this holds up. I loved it exactly the same way that I loved it back then. It's funny though. It's like I went on IMDb, and this is what they call it, or this is the description. Two rock and rolling teens on the verge of failing their class set out on a quest to make the ultimate school history report after being presented with a time machine, which I guess is one way to look at the movie, but missing the entire point of the movie.
Yeah.
And so this movie stars, by the way, Keanu Reeves as Ted, Alex Winter as Bill, and George Carlin as Rufus, and then it has a huge supporting cast. But beyond the IMDb description, which clearly misses the point, is we find these two slackers who are about to fail their history class, so that part is true. But if they fail, the entire history of society is going to collapse because their band, the Wild Stallions, the music they create together unites the future. The entire society, the entire history, the entire everything in the future is based on these two having a successful musical career, and their music will inspire everyone and cause, peace, all that kind of good stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's why they are presented with a time machine, not just for some random hilarious way to go through time and, and make grab Joan of Arc and, funny Joan of Arc. Is that Noah's wife? Funny jokes like that.
I forgot. Oh, go
It's
ahead.
like the
Sorry.
first 5 minutes of the movie that I watched today.
Yeah. So this is a time travel movie, and it's a great time travel
Right.
movie because they come back and then they go and they meet themselves, and then something happens and they go, Bill, remind me to go back in time and like, hide my dad's keys, and then you realize what happened earlier. And so it's really, really funny. And there's some like slightly cringy stuff, like one of the seniors in high school, when Bill and Ted are in high school, marries Bill's dad, right? So his stepmom is like 2 years older, and she's the hottie, right? She's the hottie from high school. And then, Ted's all like, hey, Bill, remember when you asked your stepmom to prom?
That's right.
But the premise is they have to save society. So they're given a time machine, which is this telephone booth. And it is just great lines like, strange things are afoot at the Circle K, like be excellent to each other, party on, dudes. It's like all this greatness. And one of my favorite things, and I kind of say this to myself all the time, is like they're trying to make a music video, and we will never be excellent until we get Eddie Van Halen. And then, but I do not believe we will get Eddie Van Halen until we have a triumphant video.
Triumphant.
But so this is just, so they go back in time. I'll just randomly grab some, but they end up meeting two princesses who they bring back, and I think they eventually get married and all that, but they get Billy the Kid, and so great. So great. That's what they got. Sigmund Freud, Joan of Arc, Abraham Lincoln, Attila the Hun, just
Napoleon.
Napoleon. And what's funny is they bring him back, and then they all get loose in a mall. And so
Right.
they're all kind of doing their thing, but in like this, modern day vibe. So you got Beethoven wanders into like a music store and starts jamming on these electric pianos, right? Like no one's business. And of course, they how society turned out. Obviously they passed. And San Dimas High School football rules. That's the greatest. There are times where I just randomly will say that. So anyway, there's just tons
rules.
So it's a great thing to say, like when you get stuck and your mind goes blank, just go, San Dimas High School football rules. If you don't get it, you got to watch the movie. It's so great. Anyway, that's it. So I'm saying go and just kind of revisit this movie from this classic from the late 80s.
I love that movie. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, but what I loved about the movie, there was a central sweetness to it that, Keanu and Alex, their character, Bill and Ted, they were never down, or if they were, it was just for a second.
They were
kept
so happy.
Yeah, they're happy hats all the time. And it was just this sort of that was the thread that ran through it. Rufus was the guy trying to keep them, on track, but they were irrepressible. I love that part of it.
Innocent.
That is true. They were appreciating the moment as they were happening. It was funny. Yeah. So that's it. Really, nothing big deal there. Nothing magical other than I rewatched it. I wanted to remind everyone it's a classic, and
I may watch it again.
Yeah, I need to watch that one.
I started watching it earlier when you mentioned it. So I just saw like 20 minutes of it earlier today. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's just a fun. It's just a
George
fun
Carlin's
movie.
so young. I mean, so good.
Now I couldn't remember. Did he give them the telephone booth, or did they kind of take it by accident? He did give it to
him. He gives it to him. Yeah.
Okay.
With instructions or half instructions, I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How are you, Lee?
Fun.
Nice to see you.
Fun.
I never loved the other movies as much as I loved the first one.
Yeah.
I never watched them. I never watched The Bogus.
They finally came out with 3 like years ago. But.
Yeah, that was like recent, like 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Wow.
Right, but by then you can't have Keanu Reeves by 3 with, with a beard. He's John Wick. So without he's like, just he needs the beard. So anywho, that's that. What else we got?
Awesome.
Anything else? I think that's it. We can let Marcy get to her party, back to her sleepover.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Is your girlfriend
I need a refill, really, to be honest.
You're empty, girl. Fill up.
Sal, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. SalDemilio.com. Genetti's Hole in the Wall. July 20th is sold out. August 17th. Come on out.
All right,
Yes.
Bob, say goodnight.
Hey, yeah. Genetti's Hole in the Wall. I could go on about other shows, but who cares? That's the only one that matters right now.
Marcy, say goodnight.
Good night, everyone. I'm gonna go hang out with Dana, drink some wine, smoke some weed.
All right, I'll see everyone later. I'm gonna go hang out with Dana also. Bye. And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff DeWaskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff DeWaskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.